Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video, and it is the end of September. I almost said August. It's the end of September, just about. We are currently in the middle of the last Jubilee of the month, which means that all of the new characters have released. So it is that time to update the tier list. So, we have to add, not you, we have to add Velzard, Leon, Rain, and Octagram Daggrull into the battle unit list, and we also have to add Guy into the protector tier list. But first, we have a few changes to make here. One of which I've already done is I gave Maid Reamer his own tier again. He's all the way down there. He has his own one. So Benda, you can shut up now. The first one that I am changing is I'm actually going to move Earth Benimaru down into A tier. And that's because orb stealing is cool and all, but it's still not overly prevalent, and it can work. It can, and it does work when everything lines up. But as far as general everyday usage in Jubilee and Conquest and such things, I'm not bringing him along anymore. Him being an AoE, is definitely good now that we are in an AoE style meta, or we're shifting to that at least. But I think he could be a little better now. I think he's just starting to get power crept out, right? That's the first change. My second change is I am moving Dark Valentine up to S tier. Octagram Val. When she first came out, we didn't really like her kit, right? The 20% alt boost we were interested in, but her second skill being that nerf, and that overall thing, it was pretty ass. But now that we've had 2 months to use her, she is on almost every hardcore Jubilee team as far as damage is concerned, because you could get ult stacking with Veldora, but he has also fallen heavily off a cliff right now. So, spoiler alert, he's going down. But Dark Val, 20%. Water Hinata has the 5% up to 60, right? And that cost explodes after just a few uses, right? It's like 12 times you gotta use it or something. Valentine needs 3. And the highest it's ever going to cost is 65 points, because it starts at 25, then 45, then 65, and then you're done. Right? It's not, 15, and then 35, and then 55, and then 100, 7. Hinata, you can only use so much, right? It's good for a one-off, kind of a little bit extra bump here, but if you're looking for that full 60%, Valentine will get you there, especially on, the water meta, which is just burning for points, right? You have so many to use. It fits pretty well. And then her trait, giving you protection gauge for the first 3 turns, also very useful. And we've seen, the usage of Rimuru and his trait and her trait being added inside and essentially replacing one of the big 3, Gazel, Milim, and Milim, because at the end of 3 turns, you actually gain more gauge than you would by having one of those starting units in your support slot in the front. So her usage, her ult boosting, and her protection trait, and her overall just viability on a lot of teams, I think moves her up into S tier. Any other changes that I want to make right now? No, I don't think so. I think I'm pretty set. I might move Space Milim down next month, depending. Her being space physical fits in this meta pretty well, but she's single target. So we'll leave her there for another month and see how things change for her. But let's move on and add the new units in. So let's start with the first unit, Velzard. So she's got Frostbite again, and the instant damage. That's the whole gimmick of this meta, is instant damage. And then she's got the orb change. I think she's a B tier. We have units at orb change. I personally am not a fan of the instant damage, and we already have a Velzard that does Frostbite, right? So AoE, if the game is pushing towards AoE metas, so realistically, actually, I should probably put her up in A tier because of the effect of Frostbite on top of all these other debuffs that you can put on, right? That's the whole point. And being a double orb painter, I'll put her in A tier for now. Not the hardest hitting unit in the game, but she's not really supposed to. She is a support more than anything. So yeah, I think she belongs in A tier. Rain, Rain. I really am not a fan of. I don't like her kit at all. I don't like sacrificing HP for instant damage, especially when the Jubilee is formatted to take into account how much HP you have left. And I get that you have Misery, who's a healer, a single healer. I still don't want to sacrifice that for a little bit of extra damage. I don't think it's worth it. I don't like her kit. No, I think she's B tier. She's definitely not worth summoning for, especially if you don't have the new space meta at all. Next up is Space Leon, the DPS of Space 2.0 with his ult boost. I think he is A tier. So I actually haven't used Leon at all. So I had to go fish some comments out from my big sweaty tryhards who do have him, who have used him, and I'll try and find their comments right now. From Ice Cold Joker. Let's see. We'll cut and then I'll find them. Alright, found the comments. So from Infinity, considers Leon to be a low A or a high B tier. Niche in that he's a debuffer and AoE nuke unit, which is fair. But his double debuff is good, and he is one of the better solo AoE nukers. And in the future, if AoE meta is going to be what's common, he sees him being pretty standard at that point. And then Kev also says that he would say a 7.5 out of 10, for the same exact reasons. He's good, but in a weird place due to AoE not really being useful right now. But his ult buff is nice, and it's cheap. And the debuffs that Leon has are also pretty good, so it works pretty well. So Leon has his 80% ult boost for himself, and then has instant damage, so at least he doesn't hurt himself. And then his second skill is physical attack resistance down to 20%, and defense by 15. So, again, more debuffs to stack with Frostbite and Velzard, and then, Protector Guy's AoE debuff skill, and then Rain's crit and space resistance down. So it's a whole bunch of debuffing. But being an AoE nuker with an 80% ult boost, like they said, if AoE becomes the next big thing and it continues to be prevalent, he could see a lot more usage. But I would also agree that he would be a low A tier. Definitely not S tier. And then we have Octagram Daggrull, contending for the worst unit in the game with Octagram Guy. I'm sorry. I can't believe they did him so bad. Octagram Daggrull. First skill, instant damage, and a 15% cut to HP. Not good. Not good at all. Second skill. What does it even do? I know it's a defense cut. I gotta go look it up. Hold on. Where is it? Where is he? Where is that sad piece of crap? Daggrull. Alright. Instant damage and defense until the end of the battle by 15%, which it stacks up to 0, which I did, right? I did that in the showcase. I took his defense down to literally nothing. And then Predator Battle killed him. And then his second skill is Secret Ult Gauge by 50%, 30% HP cut. Okay, so you have two negatives. One on each of his skill. One of which is another of that niche crap that I don't like from this meta. Instant damage. And then the other one is 50% ult boost. No. You're running him with Hakuro. Like, Earth Hakuro is his protector. But you know who doesn't struggle for alt gauge? Teams with Earth Hakuro. You know how much gauge 6 Hand of Orange gives you? A fuck ton. You do not need to boost your ult up anymore, especially since he's a fucking AoE. And hurting himself, right? And hurting himself. So his trait gives him alt gauge at the start of turn for like the first 3 turns. Cool, I don't care. You are a crap unit. And I actually probably think you're worse than Guy. Because at least Guy can stun, you know, Conquest, right? And he's got an Orb Steal-ish kind of thing. Transference, whatever. No, he's got Orb Change. He's got 3 and 3, right? Or 3 something something. That's how much I care about him. You're ass. He's ass. He's bad. He's laughably bad. Every time you use him, I giggle. And not for good things. So those are the new units from the Space 2.0 meta. Let's move on to the battle unit, and let's actually change a few things, and we're moving you down. Veldora just is not commonly used anymore because what he does is just not as good, especially when you have Dark Valentine to take that spot, right? Lots of units raise skill cap. Giving skill points is cool. Raising your ult is also fine, but again, like if you're running Milim, you don't need points. You're raising your cap. You're raising your damage. And by raising your points and cap and how many points you get, you can bring Dark Valentine and you'll get the full effect of him while still having other effects going on. So, Veldora moving down. Chloe and Cabby I will still keep there because they are still fairly strong and competent. I'm also going to move Dark Xion down and Romerus down. And probably the Orc. Really, most of the OGs... yeah, most of the OGs now have just been power crept out, right? It's been almost a year in gacha games, you know, original units, unless they get some kind of serious upgrade that we haven't seen in this game yet, they just can't compete. Right? They can't do it. They can't hack it. You're good because your skill is still fairly busted. I'm using in situations, you again, I could probably actually move you down here with the rest of them too, if we're going to be perfectly honest with you. In fact, I think I will. Yeah. I thought that I would move these 3 up. These 4, actually, with those defense battles that came in, but they were a joke. And I thought they were going to be permanent as well. And hard. But no, it wasn't. They weren't hard. They weren't permanent. They're gone already. And therefore, you will stay down here. I hate you. You can't hack it. You can't hack it. Sadly, you can't hack it anymore. Can't do it. Nope. No. You've been outclassed. And you've been outclassed. You've been outclassed by Hakuro. You've been outclassed by stacking. It's just it. Gabiru B tier. And Guy, I think, is A tier. I think he's like a low A, high B kind of tier right now. He does have the benefit of being a triple orb changer, 3 and 3, which Gabiru sadly is not. If Gabiru was a 3 and 3 to 6 blue, he would be up here, but he's not. He is straight up 6 green to 6 blue, which I think severely hampers him. Like, I've been trying to use him in this Jubilee, and the amount of times I get 4 oranges is maddening. So, Guy, since the AoE has shifted to, or since the meta has shifted to AoE, he is good. His AoE debuff is good for that aspect. His 3 and 3 orb changing is what really puts him there. And then he gives everyone alt gauge, which I've tried to use Ifrit and I've tried to use Xion for that same reason on a few Jubilee runs, giving alt gauge, but they can't do it. You don't have any other thing but giving fire damage. Like, that's cool, but I'm not running the fire team. And then you give alt gauge, but you only give like 25%, which I didn't realize. It's actually kind of low. He gives 35, you give 40, but you do orb change. But again, it's 6, full 6. So he will stay in A tier for now. We'll see how he ages throughout the game. I think maybe I'll do a showcase for him on my Asia account and have him go into every conquest and try and lead teams there to really get a feel for it, and then maybe next month I'll move him. But that is the tier list for this month. Guy, A tier. Octagram Valentine, getting promoted. Leon and Velzard, A tier. Rain, B tier. And Daggrull, F for fucking trash. So, let me know in the comments what you guys think of my changes. Do you think I should make any more changes to this list? I could see arguments for Velzard and Milim going down. But, yeah, let me know. But that's it for me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you later.